money, just having money, being wealthy. I prefer to spend it, to use it. So most people will work 5 days a week and then rest 2 days a week at the weekend. So I don't agree with that. I think if you work for 3 years and then you've built up some money, right? Then spend the money. And when it finishes, work again. See? So when I say I retired at 45, which was last year, I'm 46 now, that meant that I built up an amount of money which I intend to spend. Now, I'm quite wise with my investments. I invest in Bitcoin, but I have shares as well. So hopefully I can just live on the returns from those investments for the rest of my life. But another thing that I look at differently from everyone else is that I don't intend to be rich when I'm old. I intend to lose my marbles when I'm old, right? Very, very likely. Mama Jessica, she works with old people in an old people's home. And she says these people do not know their own names, right? What's the point of being rich if you don't know your own name? Yeah? When I'm an old man and I don't know my old name, just tell me I'm rich. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I'm rich, am I? Okay, cool. I've got money, have I? Okay, cool. You know, and then the worst thing as well, and I've learned this, I've seen it so many times, is if you leave money for your children, one, they'll spend it really badly, yeah, because they don't understand the sweat that it takes to get money. But two, they will start fighting. I have seen so many families torn apart by fighting over an inheritance. I think now I brought up my children to understand that there's no inheritance. Actually, when we were children, my mother said, when we die, we're leaving our money to the church. You're not getting any of it. And that's really, really helped me. I realized, oh, this is my responsibility. My money is my responsibility. I'm not getting any. A big problem in the whole of Tanzania is that the idea of help, the idea someone's going to come and help you, the idea of asking people for money, go and do it yourself. Anyway.
That's quite the answer. Because as Musa said also that it's how everyone else sees. For example, others will see that what he's saying is not from what I'm seeing. Yeah. Someone wants to build the money. When they're 40, for example, they're 20 right now, they want to build their money. When they're 40s, they're like, okay. But they don't know that maybe tomorrow you could die. Maybe, so that you're dying.
Bob Marley said it when he said, money is a number. You will never be satisfied with a number. So that if you think to yourself when you're young, oh, if I have $100,000, I'll be fine. No. It's interesting. I can ask anybody in this room, anybody, how much money do you have and how much money do you want, right? And they always say twice what they have. Same with me. If I had double the money I have, I'd be so happy. No, you wouldn't. You'd have allocated it for this and this and this and this. You will never get happy. It's like followers on social media. You think to yourself, if I get to 500,000, that's it, I'm happy. You start looking for 600,000. You start looking for 1 million. So you will spend your entire life being unhappy, right? Unless you say, no, it's enough. It's enough. You know, there's rich people. I know some very wealthy people, yeah? They don't spend their money. They might as well not have it, right? If you don't spend your money, you might as well not have it, yeah?
It's very true.
It's very lucky that I married a Chaga woman because Mama Jessica, a Chaga culture is to just hide all the money under the bed, which is useful because when I run out of money, I just go under the bed and thanks for that. Well, they have many fines. It's all my money in the first place. You know, the nice thing when you marry Chaga women is that when they catch you doing something you shouldn't be doing, yeah, they don't leave you. They give you a fine. It's a fine. So you pay the fine, then they hide it under the bed, then you go and take it, and you pay another fine. It's a beautiful system I've got going on, a beautiful deal. But what's nice is she will spend all of her money building a house, because Chaga women, Tanzanian people, Tanzanian women especially, want to build a house. So when I am old, poor, and don't know my name, I will be living in Mama Jessica's house. Yeah.
Shout out to Mama Jessica. You mentioned Bitcoin. So for the people that don't know, we have had conversations prior to this, and we said people just think that Bongo is just traveling, but they don't know the logistics behind this. They think maybe it's all just free, everything's just free, but they don't know that these, as you said, you have made your money, and your money is paying for you. You are traveling, your money is doing whatever you want right now. But the main thing that you said you do right now is in your investment is Bitcoin. And later today, and I believe this episode will be out after today. So we will already have at our Connectors Club, where today in Bongozozo would have talked about Bitcoin. So if you were at the event, shout out to you. And if you missed out, listen to this right now. So, what sparked your interest in Bitcoin? And you said you started, I believe, was it 2017? Sorry if I'm getting the year wrong. 2017. And how did you start your crypto investment?
Well, what I liked first of all about crypto was the freedom, the ability to accept a payment from Brazil. I was working in business. My business expertise is in old currencies. I traded wholesale old currencies on eBay, and so I had a customer in Brazil. And the problem with international bank transfers is that a payment from Brazil to UK would go through all these various banks, so it takes such a long time. And the thing is with Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer money transfer system. Okay, nowadays I'm using it as an investment and people are using it as an investment. But really, what its prime use and what it was designed to do was to be a peer-to-peer payment system. So that if you want to pay me and I want to pay you, why should it go past a third party? Why should it go to a bank? Yeah. Indeed, why is it anybody else's business? If I'm paying you and you're paying me, it's nobody else's business. This is our personal, yeah. And so there was a customer that needed to send me some money. He sent me $2,000 in Bitcoin. And when it arrived, instantly, it was there. Now, I was nervous of Bitcoin. A lot of people are nervous of Bitcoin because it's quite hard to understand what it actually is. Because in reality, it's nothing. But then you come to learn about it and you come to realize that the money we have in our wallet is also nothing. You know, it doesn't have any inherent value, like, for example, gold. Or diamonds, or has some industrial uses. Bitcoin has no use. So what I wanted to do with this $2,000 when it came in is just cash it out and put it in my bank. But then the next day it went up 10 or 20%. There was a surge. And so my $2,000 had become $2,300, something like that, overnight. So I said, oh, wait, now this has sparked my interest. Yeah. So then I started looking on YouTube and as to what is this and to understand about it. And then the next day it dropped 15%. So it went from $2,000 to maybe $2,400 over a course of a week. I thought, that's good, Dad. Then it went down to $2,050. I'm still up $50. It's still a good deal. But then you say, no, I'm really interested in this. And the thing that really inspired me to learn about Bitcoin actually was loss, not the gains. When you lose, I don't believe in this word loss. I believe in the word learning, yeah? So Bitcoin goes down, that's when you do the research. So that's how I got started, by learning, yeah. Learning through loss.
Learning through loss. Do you know they say W and L? You take an L, you take a W. But for you, your L is not a loss, it's a learn.
It's a learn. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
100%.
You either win or you learn. There's no such thing as loss.
100%. Now, so you have different work, for example, right now, you travel, you do everything. For us, I think the people fail, for example, is the time. If you work for 5 days, you have the weekend, 2-day weekend, but we don't take our time off. Even on the weekend, we just try to just work. And people don't know the importance of balancing your time.
Yeah.
So, for example, for you were working. How did you balance your time of enjoying time with family, with Mama Jessica? How do you work, or even the traveling, the promoting the country? How do you balance these things?
Yeah, well, you just got to have a hobby, because you're right. These days, it's very hard to actually take time off work because the time off work you're on your phone. You're on your phone scrolling through your reels, and you realise I'm not actually relaxing here. So actually, I picked up the hobby of running. I love running, and my son Mickey, of course, is a real runner. So I like to travel to go on some runs. We've travelled to Sweden and Italy, Mickey and myself, Jessica as well. The thing is, yes, I travel for work. Sometimes I get sponsored for my travels, like there's a money transfer app called Nala, because I have a good connection with the diaspora. And the diaspora like to send money into Tanzania, so they use this app. So he sponsors some of my trips to support the athletes, because I make a lot of noise and I become, visible to the diaspora. That can happen there, but a lot of the times I can travel. I mean, it's a good question, that, because it's hard for me as well to differentiate work and pleasure. I mean, the thing is, a lot of people in life hate their work, so they know when they're not working because they're enjoying themselves. Now, I love my work. I've never worked for anybody. I've only ever worked for myself, and I've only ever loved my work. Right? Otherwise, I won't do it. And because so much of the time I volunteer, so 70% of the time I'm doing things for free. Okay, so when you volunteer, if you don't like the job, you stop because you're not being paid. I just feel that 5 days working in an office is society controlling you. Someone's controlling you, and you're not. And if you're not enjoying your job, then you are committing suicide. You only get one life. So, but the difference between traveling for work and traveling for pleasure sometimes is very difficult for me as well. Look, I'm human like everyone else. I have the same problems. I scroll too much on my phone. Yeah.
I would like to take you back to the Bitcoin topic, because that's what you're going to talk about today as well. So I think we have a little bit like of same story and about finding out about Bitcoin. I remember I personally found out a bit about Bitcoin when I had to pay someone and he asked me to pay him in Bitcoin. So I paid them and then I forgot about it. Then the next year I had to pay someone again. So when I came back to the wallet, I found like my money has doubled than the balance that I left. So I was so surprised, and then I wanted to learn more about it. So where do you see the future of Bitcoin going, and how are you preparing for it?
So the thing is with Bitcoin is I can only see it going up. I mean, there will be peaks and troughs. So it goes up, it gets into a manic stage where everybody jumps on and it shoots up so quickly. And when it shoots up quickly, then it can crash quickly because people like to take profits. It's quite normal, but generally there are cycles. There's boom cycles or bull markets, and then it can drop as well, and there are bear markets where it goes down. And that's just something I've come to accept. And that's why I don't do things called leverage trading, where basically you're betting on Bitcoin going up or down. If I want to bet, I can just bet against Manchester United, I mean, they lose all the time. Or I can bet that Arsenal will never win the title. It's easy. Or I can bet, that Norwich will never get promoted again. Anyway, things like this. So what I do this thing called hodling or holding, where I understand that there's only 21 million Bitcoin in the world, and there's 8 billion of us in the world, and it's going to it's a new technology that's going to overtake the world, whether people like it or not. And bear in mind, governments generally don't like Bitcoin because governments want to be involved in the transfer, right? Between you and I, they see it as their business because they want to cut. Or companies, banks are terrified of Bitcoin because they want our business. Right, and so there's going to be as it gets bigger and bigger, there's going to be a lot of pressure from governments banning it. But there's one or two governments in the world, like El Salvador, the new president of Argentina. There's some Asian countries as well that are pro-Bitcoin. It's basically a choice. We're at a crossroads here. That countries are saying, most countries, 80% of the countries are going to say, no, we don't like Bitcoin, but there's nothing you can do to stop this revolution. So it's better that a country moves to the side of saying, okay, let's embrace this. And what I was very happy with last year is that the president of Tanzania, Mama Samia, went to the central bank of Tanzania and said, get ready for cryptocurrencies. Because why I like that so much is because generally with new technologies, we know what happens. Kenya go first. Kenya first through the door. Say, okay, let's accept this. And Tanzania last. And it hurts me so much to say, no, let's be first. There's no reason why we can't be first. Let's embrace these things. I find Tanzania, one of the problems is that Tanzanians are very nervous as a people. They're quite scared of taking risks because they're scared of loss. And what I'm trying to say is, look, there's no such thing as loss. Yes, there will be risks. Yes, there will be mistakes made. Let's learn from these mistakes. Even in Bitcoin, many Tanzanians, the biggest question I get asked, or the biggest criticism I get from Tanzanians is that there are matapeli. I don't know what matapeli is in English. Scammers, thank you. Bitcoin is just a scam. That's the biggest problem you get from Tanzanians. Because what happens is that someone will say, look, I'll get you Bitcoin. Here, look, pay me $200, I'll get you Bitcoin, and you will make $10,000 in 1 week. But that's obviously a scam. You have to learn. In fact, it's a good idea to give that $200 because you will learn very, very quickly the language of scams. Yeah, so it's a bit like saying if you're trying to buy a farm, right, and someone scams you from the money, which happens, the guy didn't own the farm that he was selling, you get scammed. Does that mean that agriculture is not a business, a viable option? No, you got scammed by a person, right? Yeah. That's why I'm saying start very slowly. To Tanzanians, I tell them to start very slowly in Bitcoin. People don't seem to understand. You don't need a full Bitcoin to start. You can start with 10,000 shillings. You can start with Bukujero, 1,500 shillings. And it's okay to lose that money. Yeah, because the more you lose, the more you learn. Yeah, just start slowly, gradually. Because there's nothing like losing or like you say, you went back to your wallet and you see your money's doubled. We know Tanzanian people there. No one could possibly go to a wallet and see it doubled and think, okay, I need to know what this is about.
Yeah. I mean, I can, basically from what you just said, is that the future of cryptocurrency, you think that it's just going to take over the world.
Yeah, it's a bit like in the 1980s. If we were doing an interview in the 1980s and I was telling you about, hey, there's this thing called the internet, yeah, where you can communicate with each other and and eventually it's going to come to a situation where we can do business on the internet. Yeah. A lot of people would have been skeptical. They would have said, wow, you think people are going to want to look at their screens? And if I said to you in the 1980s, look, invest in these companies like Google and Microsoft or invest in the internet, become an early adopter of the internet. Nowadays,